Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith. Welcome to the Grow Tent, everybody. You have found the best growing channel on YouTube, man. The place where we simplify the approach for you so everyone can learn how to grow. We make it so simple, even I can understand. So I'm going to listen and learn right now.
Woo! Welcome back to the Grow Tent, everybody. We got a great episode for you today. Today we're going to be talking about pot size and does it matter as far as your in yield, plant overall growth, etc., etc. And it's going to be a pretty good episode. We'll be talking a little bit about quote unquote root bound and how it's not nearly as prevalent as you think it is. But yeah, that's our episode for today. So sit down, buckle up, but as always, it's the intro. It's everyone's favorite part. Once again, we have no sponsors on this channel at the moment, so we are all completely subscriber funded, which we're actually not even subscriber funded right now because as you know, the Patreon got deleted. But no worries, I'm in the middle of building my own site right now, so I want to say thank you for everyone for being patient while the new site is being built. Also, a huge thank you to everyone that got t-shirts last weekend for our pre-sale. The sale was live from Thursday through Sunday, and we sold over 1,700 t-shirts, which was pretty awesome considering my Patreon wasn't even up. It was just like a public, little advertisement for that. So that was awesome. Thank you everybody that bought t-shirts. They are, I closed the store, I think it was Monday morning, and I got the order put in by Thursday after I tallied everything up. So it should only be 3 to 4 weeks, and all the t-shirts will be finished being made, and then they will start shipping. I'll put a little note on here or I'll put a video out saying that all the orders are getting ready to go out. So thank you for that. And I think we had triple that amount order in tent slaps / stickers. So it was a giant success for the 4th of July sale. All right, let's get to it. So please like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It all helps the channel out tremendously. So what are we talking about today? We did that all in 2 minutes. I'm getting good. It only took me 700 YouTube videos to keep my intros under 2 minutes. Today we're going to be talking about pot sizes, and if I've noticed any difference, because I've done pretty much, I flowered in solo cups, I flowered in 1 gallon, 3 gallons, 7 gallons, 10 gallons. I've flowered in all these different pots, and today we're going to talk about any of the differences I've noticed, any of the pros and cons of each of what I've noticed of growing in bigger pots or growing in smaller pots, or how it affected my yield. So we'll start off with probably the biggest growing myth in existence, and that's a plant being root bound. I get pictures people will send me of a plant that's this big in a 1 gallon pot, and they're like, I think my plant isn't growing, I think it's root bound. Dude, that's not root bound. If you go to my Instagram, I've got, literally just because I get annoyed when people try to tell me that their plants are root bound, I grew a 4.5 foot tall plant that was bigger than I could. I'm 6'2", so I'm a pretty tall guy. I couldn't put my arms around the entire plant. You can go see pictures of it on my Instagram. That'd be from a few years ago now. But you could not put your arms around the plant. It was in 5 inches of soil in a 1 gallon pot. The root ball for the soil was this big. I had to water it 3 times a day to keep up with it, to keep it from, going dry and dying out. But that plant was giant, thriving, healthy. I had to feed it every 3rd watering, so I had to feed it every day, and I had to water it 3 times a day. Do I recommend doing that? No, because it was a giant pain in the butt. Maybe it had some kind of like auto watering system on it, it'd be okay. But as far as that goes, root bound is a extremely silly concept. Just an excuse people will use. Oh, I need to get it into this bigger pot super quick. I think you severely underestimate how little soil these plants can thrive in as long as you're taking adequate care of them. So don't ever come to me with rootbound questions, because I think they're very silly. And I literally grew that plant in 5 inches of soil just to show people that. And would I want to do it again? No, it was a nightmare taking care of it with it was only in 5 inches of soil. Now the nice part was it was in a fabric pot, so the roots would constantly air prune themselves. I'm telling you right now, whenever we took it out of that pot, I could have literally broken a window with how hard that 5 inches of soil was, because it was so dense with root material. Like the ball, it was like almost made of concrete. It was so tough, but the plant was still happy, thriving, and it was a giant plant in 4.5 or 5 inches of soil. So don't come to me with rootbound questions, because most of the time they make you look very silly. So let's go into the next part of this question. Will my pot size affect my end yield? And for the most part, the answer is no. So I've grown plants in 7-gallon pots, and I've grown plants in 3-gallon pots. We're talking about for like one of my 5x5s or my 6x4s or even a 4x8. What I have come, the only thing that changes is your workload based on your pot size. The bigger the pot size, the lighter the workload. The smaller the pot size, the more interventions you have to do on the plant's behalf. When you put a plant in a bigger pot, which you shouldn't try that unless you are really, really good at knowing when the proper time to water is. Once you have your watering down, you can grow in any size pot that you want. I don't care if you want to take a seedling and put it in a 7-gallon pot. Once you're good enough at watering, you will not have a problem doing that. I've started seeds straight in 7-gallon pots. It wasn't a big deal. But if you don't have that part down, go watch some of my other videos. I talk to you about watering correctly. That's one of my biggest sticking points, is people learning to water correctly. But as I have grown as a gardener, I have found that I honestly like flowering in 3-gallon pots. I like I do enjoy the shorter amount of time in between waterings, because it gives me more of a chance to add or constantly check up on where my plant is progressing at. Whereas if I'm growing in a 7-gallon pot, generally I'm only watering 1 time a week, which is fine. It's just fine. But as I have gotten better at this, I've come to like the fact of watering 2 times a week. And I found that, you guys have all seen my plants. I mean, come on, I've got hundreds of videos with my plants in them. You know what they look like. I do like the ability to water them. Watering 2 times a week, it's nothing. It's no big deal. But when you grow in the bigger pots, you really only get 1 opportunity a week to kind of water them. As far as yield or outcome, they're identical. They're absolutely identical. I don't care if I grow in a 7-gallon pot. I don't care if I put them in a 10-gallon pot. I don't care if I have them in a 1-gallon pot. The end result is always identical. The only thing that changes is the amount of effort or interventions I have to do week to week. Obviously, the smaller pot, the more times you're going to have to water. The more times you have to water, the more times you have to feed. The bigger the pot, the less times you have to feed, because there's more soil, there's more nutrients in the soil, and the amount of water you put in is more, so it lasts longer. But the cost of, your time, you have to factor in there also. But as far as in yield, there is 0 difference whether I'm in a 1-gallon pot or I'm in a 10-gallon pot, because my yield, since I'm an indoor grower in a tent, my yield is determined by my square footage of my tent and my light. It has nothing to do with my pot. My pot just determines how much work I have to put in to get my plant from week 1 of flower through the end of week 8 of flower. There is no difference in yield depending on your pot size, nor do I care about your pot type. I don't care if it's plastic, fabric, air pot, whatever. That 1000% doesn't matter. Grow with what you like to grow with. For me personally, I like to grow in plastic until my final pot, because it makes transplanting so much easier. In a plastic pot, I can literally just go and squeeze the pot 1 time and pull the whole plant and pod of soil out and just rip. Way easier to do. But whenever I go switch from veg into flower, I like going into fabric pots, because since I'm no longer transplanting, the fabric pot helps the roots air prune the entire time that they're growing. So it's like I'm constantly bottoming the plant, just like you would constantly top the plant in veg. Or anytime you transplant, you can bottom your roots too. You should be. If you're not, you should go watch my video on it. And but you will get a 0 there's a zero benefit as far as yield or quality for pot size. The only thing you're changing is your workload. So find the one you like the best, stick with that. And for me, it used to be I like to flower in 5s or 7s, and now, hey, we're back. Sorry, I just got a call. But within the last 2 or 3 years, I've really gone down in pot size. It's increased my workload some, which is not big. All right, and another phone call. We're super popular while we're trying to record, dude. I cannot be recording, and I won't, I won't get a phone call for an hour. The second I start recording, I think like some kind of signal goes up, and it's just like, hey, he's recording a video. Start calling his phone. All right, guys. So in the end, bring it all to a head here. Your pot size does not affect your yield at all. It just affects the amount of work you have to put in to get your flower from week 1 through week 8. The smaller the pot, the more work you're going to have to do, the more stuff you're going to have to add to it. The bigger the pot, the less work you have to do. And when I say less work, the less waterings, the less feedings, because it already has a bunch of stuff in there. I hope this cleared up any confusion you might be having on the subject. If you have any other questions, you can always send me an email at it's somewhere, to thegrowtent@gmail.com. That's my email. I do try to get to them, but I get around 1,000 emails a day because I'm a big dumb idiot who puts his email up on the internet. I hope all you guys have a fantastic day. I hope you're looking forward to the new website coming up as our replacement for our Patreon, and I look forward to hanging out with all you guys on there and also here on YouTube also. I'll see you guys next time. GT out.